Okay, so the most important sound is probably that bass tone. That's like the number one thing you associate with the drum. So talk to us about that.
So your hand's here when you hit the bass.
And so would you say that it's complete hand, cupped hand? Where's the contact happening? I mean,
you know, your whole hand's hitting the drum. And I would imagine like this part of your hand right here
okay,
is kind of
pressing in.
Well, I think of it like a trampoline.
Oh, okay.
So you're going in, and then your hand's not like coming back up, but like you don't want to just try to hit the surface. You want to try to hit into the surface.
Mm-hmm. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, you got it.
Cool. But I like that, I mean, because once again, that trampoline concept is not something that I've thought of using, so that's a great kind of thing to do it.
Yeah.
Generally, the bass tone is played in the center of the drum, kind of directly in the center of the drum, and which is very different than, say, snare drum or timpani. You know, again, the difference between classically trained things, when we play in the center of the drum, it's actually a nodal point, so it gets the least amount of resonance possible, actually. If you play a snare drum right in the center, there's very little resonance. Same thing with a timpani. So for this, you definitely want it to be right on the center of the drum.
Yeah, and you're going to find different teachers.
Of course.
You go online and put in djembe instruction, you're going to find a ton of different examples of how to hit it, how not to hit it, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, you fill it out and you try to find a good sound you like and try to repeat the hand movement to produce that sound again.
Perfect. Okay, so that's the bass tone. What about, usually I think of it have kind of three tones. I think of the bass tone, and then I think of the tone or the open tone, and then I think of the slap tone. So maybe we'll move to the open tone next.
Yeah.
And so that's how would you describe that?
You know, so the open tone is all four fingers hitting the drum at the same time. So you're not there. You are hitting the rim, but it's those four fingers that the sound, I think, is being produced from. And they're all hitting at the same time. Now, some teachers are going to say, close your hands, and then some teachers are going to say, you know, you're going to be here or here. You just...
But you do hit the rim.
I hit the rim, but I'm not thinking
like
about
you're not
hitting
jamming
the
it,
drum.
right?
Like you don't have to force sound out of it. It comes naturally. My fingers aren't resting once I hit, and they're just kind of hitting, kind of like the bass, and coming off. But you don't want to like try to. You'll see some people try to hit it and then like try to like force it off. It's kind of, you're not going to be fast that way. You're going to be more fluid in your playing if it just comes a little, it just comes back a little.
Cool. The open tone, I think is the most like the conga open tone.
Yeah, totally.
They're pretty much the same in a lot of ways. The conga tone, I think you tend to use a little more wrist in. I mean, at least the way I play, you tend to use a little more wrist in. But essentially, I think, you know, for those of you out there wanting to learn, you can really look at it as very, very similar to that conga tone. Yeah. So can you give us some combinations of perhaps things to practice bass to open? I mean,
yes. So I was saying that I have this like 6/8 type of rhythm.
Oh yeah.
Just back and forth.
And I should say that we haven't done the handout for today's lesson yet because I wanted to kind of see what we talked about and what things came up, and then we'll make the handout and put it there so that you have it to practice with from here on out. So this rhythm will be in it, so we've got that. So you're talking bass, open, open, bass, open, open.
Yeah, just back and forth. It's a nice balanced way to play.
Yeah, already, Getting really clear with stuff. Cool.
And then you can throw in the tone or the slaps. And then you can play all kinds of things. you can create rhythms just from that warm up.
So it's basically a triplet bass warm-up or a 6/8. It's a combination of 3 notes. So the advantage to that is that it alternates hands each time. I think that's another thing that's really important about djembe playing and about conga playing, about most ethnic instruments. We tend to get in this habit with snare drum where we're practicing everything right hand lead. We're thinking lead hand, lead hand. Yeah. But being able to alternate very, very fluently is very common. So you're putting the bass on one of each grouping of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then putting a slap in on 2 or a slap in on 3 and being able to do all of those is also very, very good for that.
Yeah.
So.
And with djembe, you do have a lead hand. You have a dominant hand. Mine's my left, so you're going to hit a lot of the rhythms are going to show you, playing bass on the 1, and you're going to play with your lead hand. Also, when you roll, you're going to roll with one hand first, and I roll with my right first.
So you refer to that as a roll.
Yeah.
And
what do you refer to?
Well, we would say that's a rhythm. I would say that's like a lick,
Yeah.
Because when we think of a roll, we would think.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Constant.
Yeah, we would think of that. So is that specific rhythm always referred to as a roll?
No. Well, they have like a roll 4, roll 5, roll 6, something. So.
Interesting. That's very different. That's cool. I hadn't heard that before, so that's cool.
Yeah, and that's part of the solo originals.
Right, makes sense. Okay, so the third sound then is the slap sound.
It's the slap, and that's the hardest to produce.
On all of the instruments. That's the case at that accent tone. It's the same on the Egyptian rick. It's the same on the frame drum. It's the same on congas. It's the same on panda. It's the same on everything. So talk to us about the djembe slap.
Okay, so I keep my fingers in the exact same position. I don't close or open like some teachers will have you do. This is just, it feels comfortable, and I can play faster if I don't have to keep thinking about closing and opening. Or I've had some teachers teach me here is slap and here is tone. I keep tone and slap right here. And the difference between tone and slap is the tone, all the fingers are hitting at the same time. Slap, they're all hitting separate.
Oh.
So I think technically that's what's happening is.
Oh, okay.
So it's like your pinky's not doing much. The 3 fingers, they're really producing that slap sound, and they're doing it like that.
Oh, okay.
So. My hands, there's not a lot happening there. You're not seeing a lot of variation in the movement.
And I think we can see that from up top. Yeah, we can maybe.
And it's not like I'm trying to put a lot of pressure into those slaps.
Right.
Just kind of. I don't have to try to produce that sound. If I think of it, if I kind of turn my hand a little bit. Versus subtle, very subtle, and that allows you to be faster.
Yeah, one of the things, when I first saw you play, this has been now a couple of years, I was so impressed with the clarity. You're such a clean player, and I think it's this attention to detail that you've put, and I think it's also because you have very little change between these 2 strokes. Because a lot of times you'll see people, and they make a big difference between it, and I think that you get bogged down with it. So, I would definitely recommend, that going about it that way, because it's so evident in the clarity in your playing.
Yeah.
When I've been taught it, sometimes I think of it as, again, compared to conga. When we talk about a conga slap, we talk about holding our fingers down in the same way.
Yeah.
But with the djembe, it's the similar motion, but up off of the drum, a little bit more.
Yeah. Because when I play conga, they're like all hitting at
right
one
down.
Yeah, and down, yeah.
Mm-hmm.